This is Charles Di Bartolo from A Better Staten Island, and we have the pleasure today to interview Lynnanne Daly from Art Lab. And Art Lab's got a lot to offer us in art and culture on Staten Island. So I'm going to turn it over to Lynnanne to talk about the history of Art Lab to start. Please tell us.
So Art Lab started off as a small art school on Norwood Avenue in 1975. And it was started more or less as an art collective where a bunch of artists got together. They started this art school, but they also were able to work in the studio there as well. So it was important to them. And after a couple of years, when the Snug Harbor was becoming a cultural center, Art Lab was invited to be part of that cultural center and move into Snug Harbor. So I believe it was 1977 when Art Lab picked up and moved to Snug Harbor. And we have an art school and gallery. Those founding teachers in the beginning did a lot to make it be what it is today. They built the walls in the gallery. They put a lot of their effort and time into making it a good art-making place.
Right. So tell me a little bit about, there's a lot, how many classes does Art Lab have today in one semester usually, roughly?
So right now we just put up our fall semester and we have a little bit over 40 classes that we have put up.
40 classes?
Yes, yes.
And that ranges the gamut, like what things do you offer? Most people don't know what is to offer in art.
So Art Lab's just a wonderful place. We start off from 3 years old, but we also go straight through to adult and beyond. So we have a typical semester is our classes run once a week for 10 weeks, but we also have variations. We have some workshops and things like that as well. Typically we have pre-K art for 3 to 5 year olds. We have children art classes for 6 to 8 year olds. Then we have youth 9 to 12, teens, and adults. Right. And there's a variety of types of art classes that you could choose from. Right. Usually the children it's a mixed bag because usually children want to experiment with different materials. So a typical children's art class would be one day maybe they'd be working with clay. One day they'd be working with paint. One day they'd be working with collage. As they get a little bit older into the youth, there's more variety available. Right. So maybe comic book art or a manga or drawing or painting. It gets a little more specified, but there also are classes that are multimedia. Then we also have a teen program where we have teen classes, but we also have in the summer a summer scholarship program for teens. That's really amazing. And we have many, many things to offer for adults. I don't know if people realize how much we have to offer, from oil painting, acrylic painting, watercolor, drawing, ceramic, jewelry making, sewing, photography, as you know. Right. So many options are available.
And they range all the way to retired. I mean, we go from young adults to seniors.
Yes,
in those classes.
It's one of the things I truly love about Art Lab is that there could be in one classroom there's an adult class going on, in another classroom there's a children's class going on. Right. Art is for everybody.
Yeah, and you, even with the ceramics, I used to have a ceramic studio on Watchog Road like 30 years ago. So you have kilns. I mean, most people don't know you have everything you need.
We have a kiln, so we do fire. We have hand building ceramic classes, and then people can fire their work. We also have printmaking machine. We have beautiful printmaking machines at Art Lab. Yes, so we have printmaking class. We have a lot of equipment that maybe even people who consider themselves expert might come to Art Lab for the equipment. Right. Like we have a black and white dark room, the printmaking machine. Many people just can't have printmaking machines in their homes.
Right.
So we do have open studios for certain things too,
nice. So
where people can come in and
facility.
use the facility. Yes.
Okay. So let's go through some of the items that you have. You have Camp Picasso, was something.
Camp
I thought you should
Picasso
mention.
is by far one of our most attended programs that we have. Camp Picasso is a day camp program that runs for the children, runs 3 days a week. For the young, we also have a Camp Kandinsky for the real young ones, 2 days a week. But our camp runs all summer long, and it runs in 2-week sessions. So we actually have 10 weeks of camp. And while last week is going to be next week, we have, I don't know if this will probably be aired by then, but we do have next week Camp Picasso Encore.
Right.
You know, because many camps are finished by August 20th or so. And we go on right into the beginning of September.
And then after summer camp, what do you have? You have after-school programs too, right?
We do. So for the children in the fall, our fall schedule, we have mainly weekend and after school. So the weekend classes are just really popular, and especially now Sunday. Sunday is so popular for children, so we have many offerings on Saturday and Sunday for children.
Right.
But we also have an after-school art program, I think Monday through Thursday.
Nice.
And we do also have individual classes for teens, like during the day as well, after school.
Right. And are you seeing an influx of people after COVID that need to get creative, that need to, what's going on in the art world?
Well,
that way.
I think so. When we first started back with our camp, we started back early. We came back as soon as we could, and what we saw then was many children coming to us. Like we definitely, our children's classes have definitely increased, and we've seen the need. We've definitely seen the need. Like the children, art is so helpful. People have really been through a trauma. And the children have too. And children tend to process things a little differently than adults. So to be able to be creative and expressive without having to know or be in touch with what you're saying or feeling, that's very hard for children.
Right.
So it's just such a wonderful experience for them, and you see the confidence that people have. Even adults, you see just the confidence that they have when they feel that they've accomplished something.
Right.
I think right now it's more important to get the word out there, actually, for adults, that Art Lab is there.
Right.
Because I feel like somehow the people find us for the children.
Right.
But I don't think if the adults in our community really understand the wealth of art that we have there, and the art learning that we have going on there.
Right.
Because we don't just do fine art, we also do applied art. You can learn to sew at Art Lab.
Right.
You could learn jewelry making
I've
at
seen
Art
some
Lab.
beautiful jewelry recently on that. So for the kids, I'm just looking at a list. I'm just going to read it out, and then you may want to extrapolate on a few that you think are interesting. But for the children's classes, I see youth classes have design theory, drawing fundamentals, drawing with colored pencils, drawing with knives, expressive watercolor, floral portrait painting, how to paint with oils, illustration, storyboarding, life drawing, painting techniques, printmaking, open studio, and painting studio. What would you touch on then?
Okay, so all of those classes are our adult classes.
Oh, they're adult.
Every one of those are adult classes.
Okay.
So the youth might have just been a separate category.
Okay.
But so design theory, you're going to learn basic concepts of design as they relate to things like line, color. Drawing is very important in design theory. Our teacher who teaches that is a wonderful teacher, Griselda Healy, who's also a professor at Wagner College. We have our faculty, I want to mention that our faculty is very expertise in art. So that's one of the difference when people ask, well, what's the difference of an art teacher or a professional teaching artist?
Right.
And professional teaching artists that we employ at Art Lab typically have a strong schooling background in art or in the subject that they're going to teach, and or a strong professional background in it. So many of our teachers are just lifelong artists.
Right.
And so these type of things that they're bringing, like drawing with knives, is a printmaking class that's taught by Sage Reynolds, who is just a master artist himself. And what are some of the, our figure drawing class is really great for people who are artists and they want to just be able to continue in the practice of figure drawing. We have on Thursday nights an open studio where you could just walk in and pay $20 and draw a model for 3 hours.
That's beautiful. And how would someone get in touch with you with this kind of work? Do they just go online to Art Lab's website?
Well, we have a website, www.artlabsi.org. But we also are always willing to pick up a phone call and register somebody on phone. Or sometimes people want to talk and know a little bit more about it, so you can call 718-447-8667.
That's great.
And you could walk into Art Lab, believe it or not. We are open 7 days a week. We're open to the public. We do have an art gallery that is typically open to the public. We're open every day at 10 a.m.
Now, when is your next art gallery?
So our next art show is actually our faculty show that will be opening September 10th. We will have an opening reception for that at 2 to 4 p.m. And this is this show is a great way for you to see what our faculty does. We also have our open house on that day. We're bringing back our open house. This will be our first annual open house since the pandemic. And that's also on September 10th.
So what do people do at an open house?
So at open house, they will come in and there will be teachers there who are doing free demos or free mini classes to show a little bit about what their class is about. We'll also have some Art Lab t-shirt giveaways, and we have one of the all-time favorites. We'll have our t-shirt room where they can color their Art Lab t-shirt with fabric marker.
So they can participate a little bit.
They can participate in art and see what it's about. Also, they get to see the faculty show and meet some of the teachers, because a lot of the teachers are there that day.
Right.
So it's a good time.
You know, and for those people that haven't been to Snug Harbor, I think that it encourages art. When you go to Snug Harbor, there's just so much beauty there. You know.
It's just a beautiful place, and I must say that I am so lucky to work there, because I do take advantage of looking around the place every day.
Right.
Every single day. Even if I just take a small stroll somewhere right nearby, there's so many little gardens, and there's so many events that go on there, and I just love being at Snug Harbor. It's a wonderful atmosphere, a wonderful environment. And I don't know if people realize just how many even free things that you can do there. You could really spend the day at Snug Harbor.
Many days I do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, you know, I happen to be privileged to teach a photography class at Art Lab, and we just started a darkroom class, which I think is fantastic, because so many people have gotten rid of their darkrooms over the years, and now there's a demand for creative people that are actually still doing film photography. And we're now trying to do different things with different types and genres of photography, so it's an ongoing thing. And I think we're seeing a pickup in that, and that's been wonderful. So I'm grateful to Art Lab for letting me teach there. And I just think it's a wonderful thing, and Eric now is running the darkroom, and that should be, and I'm looking to learn that myself. So I went and bought an old camera, and by the way, just for I have a few of them. I have an old Kodak, one of the with the pull-out lens, and then I just went to another place. You can go to these consignment places, and I picked up a camera for like $20, a 35 millimeter camera with the lens, and I'm starting to shoot with that, and then we're going to be able to develop it in the darkroom, and so that's exciting. Tell me a little bit about, we went through the teen classes, right? We haven't gone through that.
So we have, I know for the fall, we'll be offering a portfolio class. It's very important for teens who want to get into any type of art programs. They really should, in schools, they really should have a portfolio.
You know, before we get into this, we need to take one break, okay? And then I'd like to get into the teen classes, what you do at the high schools and so forth. So we're going to take a break right now. Thank you. Okay, this is Charles Di Bartolo, and we are back at A Better Staten Island with Lynnanne Daly from Art Lab. And we were just getting into the teen programs.
Yes.
And maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you're doing for teens on Staten Island.
So the portfolio I just mentioned, very important if it's a teen who's really into art and wants to get into an art high school or an art college. That's a great program. We have a new teacher with us, very good, who's been teaching teens. And this summer we had a teen abstract painting class that was very popular. She'll also be teaching an abstract art class this fall, the same teacher who's doing the portfolio, which will explore all different types of art media in an abstract way. And we also have ceramics for teens, ceramic hand building for teens. In the summer, we have a summer studio scholarship program that is really great for teens. We're still trying to build up the teens a little. We feel like we lose them.
So now
during
this
the
scholarship
pandemic a little
program,
bit, so.
what does it do? What do they have to do to get involved in a scholarship? What can they get?
So the summer scholarship program is something that has to be applied for. It is a fairly small application, though. It's
Right.
a 2-page application. And if they do get into it, and we're not really looking for quality work, we're not asking to see quality work in this.
Right.
We're looking for the desire, the
Okay.
children who really desire and love art.
Right.
And that's who we want in that program.
So it's
and
to cultivate young artists.
Yes, definitely, and it's eventually to bridge the gap between teen and adult, or
Right.
because it's very hard to go from that one to the other.
Right.
So this helps to bridge that gap, and it's really helpful for them too if they are in art high schools and such.
So what's the award on a
It's-
scholarship like that?
The award is a full scholarship to a 6-week intensive, 3 full days a week art program where all their supplies are included as well.
Nice.
And there is just an application fee for that. We also have an adult faction of that, which is great. Like a lot of adults who are already career artists or who are very much involved in art. A lot of teachers take it because they're off in the summer sometimes,
Right.
and we have an adult faction. Usually the adults get a partial scholarship to it,
Right.
but the teens are always free.
Well, that's a great way to encourage a young teenager to get into their creative side and to move them forward in art, and I think that's a wonderful thing. Let's see, we did Camp Kandinsky. You have a parent and child ceramic workshop. How does
Yes,
that go?
this is something new actually that we're trying to get going.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the child and parent will be creating together, and
Nice.
It'll be our class. I should mention too that our classes are fairly intimate. It is a small environment, so that there is a lot of individualized attention.
Right.
So this would be something where there would be maybe 4 parents and 4 children in that setting. And we want to try it out. We thought it would be something nice for the children to do with their parents.
That's one, and you mentioned the high schools, and I had the pleasure of teaching at Wagner through you guys, and we did a
Yes.
photography class and also some graphic design work with teenagers in Wagner, and it was a wonderful experience, and I think we reached a lot of kids. What else are you guys doing along those lines?
Yes, so we do also go into schools. We act as the agency. We will secure the teachers and help run the program. The program that you were involved in was called Artistic Bridges 2, and that's a program that we've been doing with Wagner High School. We also had someone go in with them and do printmaking and drawing
Right.
as well. But we've also done other things with them. We have been involved with after-school arts for public schools.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that because right after summer, now what are the kids going to do? And you have an after-school program that helps them to develop a portfolio. Tell us about the different programs you have there.
So our after-school program in-house is we have 2 days a week. We have 9 to 12-year-olds, and 2 days a week we do 6 to 8-year-olds with the after-school program, and they come in after school for an hour and a half. Each one comes in an hour and a half, 2 days a week. for each class, and they do various different kinds of art. Especially the after school is also kind of that focus where children are getting to choose what they want to do, and they're kind of being involved more with what they want to do.
Whatever they want to do.
Yes, where the other classes are a little more structured. I think the after-school art is a little more input from the child. What do they want to do?
And I guess you have to, whether it be a rebellion.
You know, our children's contingency has grown so much post-pandemic, and we're just really trying every way we can to accommodate that. We love having the children.
Well, and parents spent a lot of time with their kids during the pandemic, and this is a little break, and it's a way to keep kids creative and educate them. I think it's wonderful. You also do birthday parties at Snug Harbor, which a lot of people don't know about.
We do birthday parties at Art Lab. So we do. They are typically, they're a little bit adjusted towards what you're looking for. As far as, we usually try to match a teacher, either that the child. Sometimes it's children who come in and they know the teacher. They want a certain teacher to do the art party for them. Or we try to do what they want to do. Maybe they have a certain theme for their party, so they're going to do an art activity based on that theme. Or maybe they the birthday child likes a certain art genre or something. So the child gets to choose what type of thing that they want to do. And we basically do an art activity for 2 hours with the children. Everybody goes home with their piece of art. Nice. They also usually get something free. They always get something free from us. It could be a different type of giveaway depending on what we have at the time.
So what are the most popular birthday parties lately for kids?
Well,
what do they like? It's been a while for me.
I am going to be honest. There was something that one of the parents called and told me. I don't even remember. I never heard of it. I'm getting like you. No, it's been a while. I never even heard what the thing was, so I didn't even know. But the teacher knew.
Okay, there you go.
So that was good.
But I would imagine that they're into like all kinds of children themes or.
A lot of times it's usual stuff that you would expect, but sometimes it's comic. Sometimes there's comic stuff, and I think sometimes it's just things that you would expect. Maybe a little child just wants to paint something pretty.
There you go.
It could just be as simple as that.
Okay.
But it can be painting, it can be clay. Sometimes they do clay work. It can be whatever they, we typically try to do what they want. Usually we can only accommodate 12, so it's usually a smaller party, but sometimes we can accommodate more. Okay. So what we always work with the person and ask them.
So how would someone go about, if they wanted to do a party at Art Lab, would they call you? Should they go on the website?
They could either contact us through email or call us. I would say email is a great way to contact us. On the website too, they can email us as well.
Okay.
And we usually contact them. We send them what the contract looks like, and and we go from there.
Now, you have an exhibition on, September 18th?
Yeah, so that's the
September
faculty.
10th.
The September 10th is the faculty exhibit.
Right.
But we are
You have others.
We have others, and we haven't had many since the pandemic, but we're back in full swing with our gallery schedule. So there's almost always a gallery show going on. This show will last 3 weeks, but then in the October and November we'll also have shows. We're hoping to have an open call in November. So an open call, we put out a call to artists, and we just ask them to bring us their work. There's usually a small hanging fee. Our major open call, major,
That's in November?
Yes, and our major open call is in January. And that's usually the first week in January. It's called the Annual Open Show. This is my favorite Art Lab show. We really put out a wide call to all people, all artists everywhere, and just ask them to bring us 2 pieces of work. No theme, no nothing.
Now, what type of media does that cover for somebody that's never been in?
That covers just about anything you want to give us, we will try to put, as long as it's ready to hang. So that could be paintings, photographs, drawings, a sculpture, prints, whatever, as long as you made it and it's art, we're going to try to show it.
Okay.
And this is one of my favorite shows. You will have someone who's been an artist for 30 years, and maybe there's a painting next to them that someone who's very new, and it's a great community experience. It's usually after the holidays, so it's January, people haven't seen each other in a little while, and it's just a great way to get together. We always have an opening when we have our show. Our openings are free to the public. We usually have refreshments, and they're usually on Saturday afternoons. So
that's nice.
I love when our walls are filled, and Art Lab is definitely one of my favorite places. It's just amazing for me to be able to work in a place that's so welcoming and where people can be creative and feel good about themselves.
And the wonderful thing is, look, this is all about getting out and experiencing art and culture and life. And that's wonderful. And but it's funny that now we're doing, this year, it's a first, that you're going to start to virtualize your exhibits. So if people can't get out or don't want to get out at that time, we'll be able to have a 3D video tour of your exhibits, and people can walk through it at their leisure. They can see what it's all about before they come. They can purchase or they can purchase some of this artwork at the exhibits?
Yes, and this is...
all right, I got to wrap it up, unfortunately. Okay, so guys, thank you, Lynnane, for telling us a lot about Art Lab. Stick around. We're going to have an art show, a little slideshow after this, and you can see what Art Lab is all about. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.